The monitor.
What?
The monitor.
Oh,
You met some people online, Steph. Would you like to answer the questions or you're gonna go to the
uh,
guest?
Miriam, if you have a quick question, go ahead.
Yeah, my question is regarding Doha meeting on Afghanistan. So you said Mr. Carlo went to Afghanistan and delivered the advanced invitation to the Taliban. Did she have to like go to Afghanistan to deliver that invitation, or couldn't UNIMA do the same? And also, the Taliban have some conditions to attend this
Well,
meeting,
I
including.
can't speak to what the Taliban will decide, but it is part of our regular engagement with the de facto authorities in Kabul.
But if they say no civil society activists should
I
be
I think
invited to,
all of
how are
that
you gonna?
I think all of that will become clearer closer to the time of the meeting. But I can't speak to
Thanks.
them. Thank you for them. Uh, and I'm not going to
Can I
speak
ask?
for Edem.
No.
So we are delighted to be joined by the Director of Advocacy and Operations for OCHA, Edem Wosornu, who has been traveling around Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Sudan, and is here to brief you. Please, Edem, welcome.
Thanks a lot, Stefan. Good afternoon. I think I'll start on Afghanistan. I traveled to Afghanistan 11th to 15th of May. My first visit to Afghanistan, I went to Kabul and to Herat province. And I have a few messages, I think a few key issues that observations that I saw firsthand. Firstly, the humanitarian situation in Afghanistan is fragile. 23 million people are in need of humanitarian assistance this year. This is 5 times the number in 2019. Of course, you know this, and it's not new. Across all crises, majority of people in need are women and girls, children. In Afghanistan, women and girls represent more than 1.4 million girls who are directly affected by the ban on female schooling after grade 6. This is a huge concern, to say the least. The effects of course, the global climate crisis was also seen firsthand. It's caused widespread water scarcity, generating new food, health, and nutrition needs. Over 50 million people in Afghanistan face high levels of food insecurity. You recall the Secretary General issued a statement on the Baghlan province floods, which was also happening while I was in Afghanistan. Restrictions on Afghan female workers have added a layer of complexity to the humanitarian operation. You've heard this before, I saw this firsthand. While delivering humanitarian assistance, our courageous Afghan female colleagues face many challenges and assume personal risks every day to and from work. I salute their bravery, I salute their commitment to supporting females across the country and males in need. Humanitarian partners continue to negotiate, of course, with the de facto authorities to provide principled humanitarian assistance. In my conversations with the Minister, de facto authority, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mutaki, I raised this issue in Kabul. I raised this issue with the Minister of Economy from the de facto authorities. I raised this issue with the Deputy Governor in Herat. And I raised this issue with the director of DRR in Herat as well. It was a constant part of my messaging. Afghan women need to work, and it is essential. They are a fabric of the society, and they need to be able to go back to work. I saw, and for confidentiality purposes, maybe not mention her name, but at a medical center in Herat, I engaged with a female psychosocial aid worker who basically called me in and said, I need to talk to you. The psychosocial impact all of this is having on our people is a lot, and we need support in this area. Female healthcare providers are essential to communities. The Afghan people are needing 3 things from us as international humanitarian community and also the national humanitarian community. Number 1, they are asking that humanitarian assistance continues. As I said before, 23 million people in need of humanitarian assistance, and our humanitarian appeal, which is asking for $3.6 billion, is woefully underfunded at some 16%. We've only received $468 million of what we're asking for. We need more support in terms of financial aid to be able to help people in need. The second that I got, the message was loud and clear from Afghans that I interacted with in Herat, in Kabul, very clear, sustainable solutions. I met a mother in a focus group discussion in Herat who said, I'm illiterate, but I want my children to go to school. I'm also looking for the tools that I lost in an earthquake on the 7th of October, 2022 in Herat, to be able to continue to weave carpets. She was very clear that she did not want handouts, but she wanted to sustain herself. Agriculture, livelihoods came up as well. Third, we must listen. I mean, they want us to listen to their voices directly. The international community must stay engaged in the issues on Afghanistan. This is not a hopeless crisis. At least I was encouraged to see that people of Afghanistan continue to fight and push for what they believe in. The world cannot abandon the people of Afghanistan at this point. I also wanted to share a story when we talk about sustainable solutions. In Herat, in Merabad province, I met Merabat village, in Injil district. I met the community leaders who had a solar panel that was destroyed in the earthquake. And that solar panel was able to produce, pump the well and help the whole village. The solar panel is destroyed. We cannot fund infrastructure in Afghanistan because of the conditionality of aid, and that is affecting the everyday lives of the people of Afghanistan. Stefan, maybe I'll move over very quickly to Pakistan as well. I was in Pakistan 16 to 18 May, where I saw firsthand the impact of the climate crisis on in Peshawar, in Chasada district. People told me the rains came early, and I saw firsthand the impact of flooding on children, their inability to wade through the flooded waters and go to school. I saw the impact of flooding on families who were agricultural families who had lost crops. This has significant impact on the economy, obviously. The government of Pakistan, I was also in the emergency center in Islamabad, where they are trying their best to ensure that predictability is key, where they can prevent massive loss of life from the early warning systems, and they asked us to support them. But again, if you see the impact of the climate crisis on communities, it's very clear that something ought to be done. My last travel, and I think Clementine Salami was here last week, and she briefed on Sudan, and I've also briefed, I think, many council briefings on the need to really maintain and sustain attention to Sudan. The people of Sudan are trapped. The people of Sudan are suffering, and I think it's worth reminding us of a few stark numbers. 18 million people face food insecurity, acute hunger, IPC phase 3 and 4. 5 million of them are a step away from starvation. 5 million people. The number, unfathomable. Behind every number is a face, is a person, is a name, is a child, is a father and mother. Let's not forget that. The risk of famine is clear in Darfur, in Kordofan, in Khartoum. 9 million people have been forced to flee to other parts of Sudan or neighboring countries. Human rights violations are rampant. I just wanted to take advantage and remind all of us that the Sudan war rages, and it's a huge concern. The Emergency Director Group sounded the alarm and reiterated the points that Clementine and others have been raising for months now. And I keep saying that if you watch the news, you will not even know that there's a crisis and there's a raging war in Sudan. I witnessed insecurity. I witnessed systematic obstructions. I witnessed, of course, firsthand funding gaps that are causing us not to be able to assist. Cross-border, cross-line, important in terms of access and safe deliveries. More than anything, people I met said, we need to stop. The war needs to stop. They need to go back to their lives. This is the 5-alarm fire of the worst kind. We need all hands on deck. We need to support people. Maybe one story that got to me in Port Sudan. Juhayana, who fled to Port Sudan from Khartoum just a few weeks ago, a woman who looks severely malnourished. And she said she's not sick. She said she just can't eat. She's traumatized from months of war in Khartoum. And I met 15-year-old Wauda, a Congolese refugee in Sudan. She was in school in Khartoum dreaming to become a lawyer, a doctor. Today, in tears, she said, where's my future? Where's my future gone? I just want to go back home. The last wonderful woman I met, a 19-year-old student called Farawila. She says, call me Strawberry. That's my name in Arabic. She was forced to flee from the affluent parts of Omdurman in Khartoum somebody who was once thriving, and she stayed. She said when the war started, I took my books, and that's all I have. She's now staying with her family on the floor in a tent in Port Sudan, dreaming to finish her education. So I'll stop here and take some questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before we get to you, and then if any of you are online, please raise your hand electronically so I can see it. Anade.
Hi, thank you so much for this briefing, Ms. Wosornu. My name is Anadi Satima, as you know, from Al Jazeera English. I'd like to start with Sudan, if you don't mind. While you were in Sudan, did you participate in any cross-line negotiations? And if you did, can you tell us who is representing the RSF and the SAF when it comes to these cross-line negotiations? Because they seem key. And then my third question, I don't mean to put pressure on you, is there any foreseeable breakthrough when it comes to cross-line negotiations? Do you think you might be able to get progress in the next month, in the next 3 months? Obviously, the situation is dire, particularly in the Darfur region, and need is urgent.
Please.
Should I take them? Okay. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Jazeera English. We met with this Sarho in Nairobi, the so-called civilian arm of the RSF. They've issued statements, they're online, saying that they are here to support people in Sudan. We met, of course, with the government of Sudan in Port Sudan, the HAC commissioner, as well as the entire cabinet, as it were, led by General Jabba, who's, I believe, is number 4 in the Sudan army. We met with all of them, discussing at length the need to assist people. The success or not of our negotiations, I hope, will be successful. But what I can tell you is every day we delay in the ability to get across to people, that is when we will lose lives. I think that's very, very clear. Cross-line is essential. We have not had much success in 2024. We were able to support, I think, 177 metric tons, 1,000 metric tons of assistance between June and December 2023. By the time when we were in Port Sudan, I think the number was under 900 metric tons. So you can imagine. We need, I think, let me take the opportunity also to remind us that the rainy season starts on the 1st of July. It's weeks away. And I believe Clementine said it, and I'll push for this as well. We need to be able to ensure that farmers are able to plant their crops to stave off famine. And this, we call on all parties to conflict to ensure that they allow us they open up humanitarian access cross-line and cross-border, something that we've asked for. The last thing I'll say is, civilians continue to cross from Darfur across the country. Civilians continue to move out through the Chadian border, through the South Sudan border. More and more civilians are even crossing into Ethiopia and to Eritrea because of the desperation in Sudan. We are calling on all parties to conflict to ease restrictions and allow humanitarians and civilians to cross, and farmers to farm their lands. This is a critical piece for us. Thank you.
Do you have any impression that there will be enough of a breakthrough for the farmers to be able to plant their seeds and the harvest cycle to be returned to any sort of normal? Do you get that impression that you'll make it in time?
We will have to continue to push at all levels and press all levers. All member states who have influence on all the parties, both parties and other parties, should be able should push the best they can. Because if we lose the farming season, we will lose a lot of lives. And this is a man-made potential famine, unlike other famines that were as a result of failed rains. Thank you.
Thank you. Aura Louis? Your microphone, please.
Arun Lewis from Indo-Asian News Service. I have a series of questions. One is, how is it being there as a woman and interacting with the restrictive officials of the interim government or the authorities on the field? Secondly, is there any international aid that's coming in outside the framework of the UN? Then you also mentioned about the problems with infrastructure. Do you think there should be a change in the regime, in the rules regarding infrastructure? And finally, you have the Doha meeting that's coming up. What do you think can be done to increase the engagement, and in what ways with the interim authorities in Afghanistan? And should they also?
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
let Edem please answer some, and then we'll come back.
Thank you very much, NOA Youth Service. As a woman, and I have to say that some of our heads of offices and agencies are women. OCHA's head of office, Isabel Musad, is a woman. And my whole delegation were women. We were received. We have national staff. We've gone from 4 to 12 national staff in OCHA in Afghanistan. And as I said before, there are restrictions in the ability to move their personal safety. They take personal risks to go to work every day. But I was received by the authorities and I was able to speak very freely. But I think it's not about me, it's about the women in Afghanistan who face everyday restrictions. So I'll put the emphasis back on them. I was just there for 4 days. International aid outside the framework, absolutely. There are I don't want to mention the member states, but there are quite a few member states who are active in Kabul, who are engaging with the de facto authorities. I think their focus is on the people of Afghanistan, focusing on the assistance that needs to be given to the people of Afghanistan, different innovations and methods being used by different member states in support of the people. And I met the diplomatic community, about 6 ambassadors and one charge d'affaires who came from Doha, and the focus was, again, how do we help the people of Afghanistan in this difficult time, rather than making it about their leaders. In terms of the conditionality of aid to the Afghan humanitarian response and also what we call the basic human needs document. The basic human needs document is a resilience type of focus to try and assist people based on what they want, the people of Afghanistan. So my message to the diplomatic community was also, could we please look at these restrictions, and if it's to fix a well, it will be much cheaper to fix a solar panel and a well than to continue water trucking, which is more of a humanitarian humanitarian response, emergency humanitarian response. So the advocacy continues, including from the HCRC in country. Thank you.
Thank you. You, Kyoto?
Thank you for your briefing. My name is Yu from Kyoto News, Japanese media. I have a follow-up question about Afghan women. Did you get something positive reaction from Taliban about the Afghan women's education or working forever? So could you share with me?
Should I?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Yuri. I heard the same message that the Afghan de facto authorities, the Taliban, have been passing to us. Give us time. We need time. And I said we don't have time because the numbers speak for themselves. So while we're not there to try and push anybody's culture or anybody's push for the politics, I was also very clear that the more we wait, the more millions of children will be affected and the more it will impact the society. But I also have to say that, without putting anyone at risk per se, there were some in the de facto authority community who were listening to us, and some who were turning a blind eye to some of the activities that we were doing. So even though the edicts, which is what we hope to stop, were clear and restrictive on women, there were some authorities in some provinces who allowed us female humanitarian workers to move freely. So there is hope to continue pushing, and the message, as I said before, at all levels was, you need to lift these restrictions because we need to do our job in the education sector, in the health sector, and across. And I think the voice, I met a women's advisory group, the voice of the Afghan women needs to be heard through directly from them. And some of them said, we speak to the Talib every day, we know how to engage with them, we need our voices heard, and we need to continue to do so. So it's a fight that we're all willing to continue to push. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone online? Oh, Iftikhar Ali, Associate Press of Pakistan, and then go ahead. Go ahead, Iftikhar.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Madam, you spoke about the adverse effects of climate exchange in Peshawar and Darsadda, and I come from that region. And you said that something should be done about it. What can be done about it to address these challenges?
Thank you.
Thank you. I think what I saw that was encouraging was the preparedness efforts. I know, for example, the numbers that we were told by the government is when we have early warning systems that are functional, while we may not be able to beat the climate crisis in itself, the early warning system has led to a lot of lives being saved, evacuations of villages, and people who are, are warned to move before a heavy rain comes. Let's not forget that the rains in Pakistan have, and of course in Afghanistan, have started before the monsoon season, for example, in Pakistan, as you know. So when we're interacting with the communities in Chasada, they said the rains have come earlier, they've been very devastating to us. There's also ways to support the communities with assistance while their crops have been devastated and destroyed. Prevention is and preparedness is key in this regard. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to Miriam, Abdelhamid, and Stefano, and then we will stop. Miriam, please go ahead. Miriam? Okay, let's. Abdelhamid, go ahead, please.
Oh, thank you for this opportunity. My name is Abdelhamid Sayam from the Arabic daily Al-Quds Al-Arabi. I have two questions about the repatriation of Afghan refugees from Pakistan. There was some program to bring more back to Afghanistan many refugees. How do you characterize the movement of Afghan refugees being repatriated to their country? And the second, can you tell us a little bit about the infrastructure in Afghanistan? Is the airport functioning? How is the communication? Is there, for example, electricity and other basic services in Afghanistan? Are they running, or there's so much shortages in that field? Thank you.
Please.
Thank you for this question. I have to say I traveled for 3 weeks, came back, and there was no water in my apartment in Manhattan, and that was quite shocking. I could not believe it. I haven't done my laundry because our laundry room also got burnt down. Luckily, in my travels in Sudan, in Pakistan, and Afghanistan, and to your question, there was electricity, there was water, even in the villages, where, as I said, if the water pump worked, there was the community said, we have water. Infrastructure has actually, I was surprised, I have to say, first time in Afghanistan, extremely naive, saw women walking in Kabul. This is a conversation I had with the diplomatic community. And I said, but they're walking around without their mahram. Of course, 72 kilometers outside the cities, their restrictions are more restrictive. So I'm not fooled in any way by what I saw in Kabul, what I saw in Herat. But the systems are working. Of course, devastated by years of war. There was electricity, there was running water, and this was an issue that did not come up. The floods will affect infrastructure, obviously, and some bridges were broken, although some were destroyed, although some trucks ventured over it. Our UN convoy did not. Repatriation of Afghan refugees from Pakistan, this was an issue that came up throughout with the de facto authorities as well, asking for our support, talking to Iran, talking to Pakistan. The humanitarian coordinator, Indrika, and the country team were able to immediately respond to the Afghan refugees who were sent back from Pakistan to Afghanistan a few weeks back. They continue to advocate for, and UNHCR, of course, it's doing a great job at advocating for the prevention of refoulement, and also being careful about stressing an already stressed system in Afghanistan if people who return or are returned from the neighboring countries are not done so in a systematic manner. Thank you.
Thank you. Last question, Stefano Vaccaro.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. This is not related to your this last trip in Afghanistan or Sudan. What is about Haiti, and I would like to know if your organization has been in contact with with Kenya authorities or even the United States. They're basically planning the deployment of those soldier or policemen of Kenya, if there is coordination with the UN in how then to provide help for and structures and water and everything they need in Haiti? There has been any contact, or they just doing without the UN?
Thanks a lot for this. Of course, the MSS, we have our colleagues from DPPA and other parts of the UN, including OCHA, supporting conversations also in DC with how to engage with the force that is not a UN force going into Haiti. There has been coordination also at the ground level. The humanitarian coordinator, the SRSG, and other high-level authorities in the UN in Haiti are engaged in those conversations as well. Absolutely. Now, the key message for us is to ensure that it's very clear that the force is not a United Nations force, and we need to continue to message around that. But indeed, we will coordinate with them when it comes to ensuring that humanitarian assistance from my side, from where we sit as OCHA, humanitarian assistance continues to be delivered the best way possible, and we're in daily contact with our teams and the leadership on the ground in this regard. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so
And
much.
thank you very much. I just, I'm sorry, I had this question very quick, but was for Stefan, but I couldn't do it before. It's still related to Haiti. Stefan, please, can you tell me if the Secretary General had any contact with the Kenyan president or the president of the United States before the meeting in Washington? Thank you.
He spoke to the president of Kenya when the Secretary General was in Nairobi about 2 weeks ago. Thank you, and please stay for Monica, who will brief you on behalf of the PGA. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Okay, thank you so much.